Hey there, friends. I'm feeling tons better now, but not that long ago, I was sick. And I hadn't been sick like that in over a year. Wow. I do not miss that. I had a sore throat, earache, antibiotics that I already had a beef with. Not just because I hate taking them, but because they forced me into this level of intentionality that I usually negotiate with. Like suddenly I was a person who had to eat in the morning and I had to eat at night. And not just whatever was easy. It actually had to be food that wouldn't make my body revolt. And it was humbling, realizing that what I consider taking care of myself sometimes only becomes non negotiable when there are consequences attached. Like, oh, this is the baseline? Cool, cool, cool. Slightly offended, but noted. And while I was in that very physical experience of being sick, there was something else happening at the same time. Spring was starting to show up, and with it, this pull towards connection, toward people, toward being out in the world again. And I knew I could do that. I'm not someone who struggles to connect, but wanting connection and creating it, two very different things. There was a night I was supposed to go to a party, and I canceled. And logically, that was the right call. My immune system was already struggling, and putting myself in a room full of people would have been bold and not in a good way. But emotionally, I felt like I walked away from something that may have helped me feel better. And that's a tension I have been sitting with. You can do the right thing for yourself and still feel disappointed at the exact same time. Both get to exist. And during that time, I was just tired. Not cute, cozy tired. Like full system shutdown. Sleep all day and still feel like I barely came back online kind of tired. I slept most of one of those days. Woke up just long enough to eat so I could take my meds, and then went right back to sleep. And there was this quiet voice in the background asking, was I healing or was I hiding? And the answer was probably both. My body needed the rest, and part of me was retreating because everything felt like a lot. And in the middle of all that, my cat. He fully stepped into his role as my emotional support supervisor. He barely left my side, curled up next to me, at my feet, in my lap, like this was his full time job. And he took it very seriously. And honestly, no notes. Just presence, no expectations, no pressure to be anything other than exactly what I was in that moment. And maybe that was part of what I needed to learn. Because underneath all of that, there was something else I started noticing. I had moments of clarity, the kind that just didn't feel like thoughts, they felt like shifts. Like something was lining up, and it was exciting, but it also made me impatient because I felt like I was standing right of the edge of something in my life, like on the precipice. And I know we could say that about every day, but this felt different. It felt closer, more real, like something was about to move. And instead of just sitting in that, I could feel myself wanting to rush it, wanting to figure it out, control it, get there faster. And that's where I ran into myself. Because overthinking, that's kind of my factory default setting. The way I was raised, the patterns I learned, the conditioning I grew up in, some of it was toxic. And even though I've done a lot of work to unlearn it, it's still the baseline my brain wants to return to when I'm tired, stressed, or not feeling my best. It's familiar. not healthy, but familiar. And reconditioning myself, that's a daily task. That's catching myself mid spiral and choosing something different. And when I did fall back into that factory reset setting, I caught it. I opened my eyes and realized, ew, no. I wasn't staying there. I stood back up and started stepping out of that muck. Because, yeah, what was going on at that time in the world, in my community, even in my personal life, it felt like crap. But falling back into old ways was not the answer. If anything, that was when it mattered most that I didn't need to be back there. That was when I needed to reach out, even if it was something small, a quick phone call, a message, a moment of connection just to remind myself that I wasn't alone and I didn't have to sit in by myself. And maybe that was the real work in the moment. Not fixing everything, not rushing to the next version of my life, but learning how to exist in that in-between space where I wasn't where I used to be, but I wasn't fully where I'm going yet. So I kept it simple. I took my antibiotics. I fed my body like it mattered. I canceled plans when I needed to, even when it disappointed me. I reached out instead of shutting down. I let my cat babysit me like the tiny furry professional he is. And I made myself go outside. Sunlight, fresh air, sitting on a swing for a little while, just to feel something easy and uncomplicated. No big transformation, just a small shift. Because in that moment, that was enough. And honestly, I think I was a lot closer than I was giving myself credit for. And something else I realized. I'm in the middle. The middle of life, the middle of my chronological life, even. And there's something about that that feels both grounding and a little unsettling. Because I'm not at the beginning anymore, but I'm also not at the end. I'm in the part where it matters how I show up, where what I choose, what I build, what I let go of actually shapes the rest of it. And if that's true, then I don't want to drift through it. I don't want to default back into patterns I already know don't serve me. Because if I'm really being honest with myself, in order to change the world, we have to anchor in the light. And I know my light shines, sometimes dimly, but it still shines. And right now, that's enough to keep going.